And the topic today is, I like the way that Jose put it, how to keep your home and life in one piece while you climb the corporate ladder. He rephrased what we had said, because we said how to maintain balance, how to keep your home and your life in one piece as you climb the corporate ladder. I think for me, that was perfect. That was absolutely perfect. So that's our topic today. Before we start, I want us to celebrate even the two of you who are here. I'm going to announce it now, and I think towards the end. We have 100 followers on Reimagine Leadership page. So we are celebrating.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for sharing, for tagging Reimagine Leadership, for commenting.
Yeah. We'll thank again at the end, but I just wanted to acknowledge that and to celebrate, and just to maybe to set a background. When I think about this topic about climbing up the ladder, maintaining balance as you climb up the ladder, for me, I don't see it just as climbing up the work ladder, because what happens is, as you're climbing up the ladder in work, you start climbing up the ladder in family. You start being the one who is given responsibilities, the one who is now called to chair meetings, because you're the one who now has money. So you start climbing the ladder. Also in family, then also stuff starts happening in the family. You start desiring a bigger house, desiring to have more children, it's like as you climb up the ladder, automatically things are also happening in the rest of your life. Parents are getting older, and if you're the one who has most money, you are the one who is going to take care of the parents. So it's like there is a ripple effect. That's something that I want us to think about as we are going through this webinar. There's a ripple effect of climbing up the ladder. The one who climbs up the ladder seems to be climbing up ladders in every other aspect of their life. So that's how I'm looking at it. We are going to start with the amazing Dina, our growth partner, master. Now we've reduced them to master so that we don't botch any of the other titles. So we are starting with Master Dina. I invite you to share with us what you want, as the reality of where you are right now. Share with us.
Wow. Just a second. Okay. Greetings, everyone, from wherever you're joining us. It's so good to see you again. Thank you for making the time and making this a date with us. We don't take it at all for granted. My name is Dina. Feel free to call me Master Dina, just to summarize everything. But most importantly, I would really love to be your growth partner. So for me, I keep telling the people who join this particular episode of Reimagine Leadership, this is our 4th episode this year, guys. Well done. And the topic is work-life balance. I keep telling Coach Jennifer and Jose that for me, I am like living this topic right now, because I am, especially for today's session, I'm as if navigating that very season of how do you balance when you're starting to climb up the ladder. And as Coach Jennifer has said, for me, I will simply speak from the place where I'm at. I know Esther is also in oil and gas, and she can totally imagine what that looks like for us. It almost sounds mythical for people in technical roles in the energy space, to the extent that there are people who do rotational work and they warn you ahead of time that you're going to work 28 days non-stop, and it looks like that. So for me, I'm simply speaking from where I am at, and I asked for very few minutes, and I'm sure that in those few minutes I'll have said everything I had to say. And I'd start by saying that the higher you go, the harder it becomes to separate your work from your sense of responsibility. Let me say that again. Because some of us think that, okay, when I climb up the ladder, I'll have a bit more time. Maybe I will have become the boss, or blah, blah, blah. But you don't realize that the higher you go, it actually becomes harder, because your sense of responsibility also grows. Coach Jennifer was just saying that you don't just climb the work ladder. Suddenly in your family, your opinion is very valued. They need your opinion on things. When they're going to purchase something, they want you to come and see it. When, because the things go hand in hand. Yeah. For those who are married, I won't speak for you, but when you're climbing, it's like, anyway, we know it in growth that when you start to grow as a person, everything around you begins to grow. So the responsibility, you have that sense of responsibility towards almost every single thing, towards the work that you do, towards the work you do at home, your responsibility towards your sisters, siblings, friends, and all of that. So it's going to become harder. That's something you must note, which means that you must prepare yourself ahead of time, and it must be at the back of your mind that it will become harder. When I mentor people, I tell them, usually they say, when I get some time, I'll do this. And I'm like, adulthood, you're not going to have the time. You will not get the time. You make the time. You will not get it. Secondly, balance is not some kind of level that you arrive at. It's not a destination. It's something you learn. Developing your balance is something that you get to learn. So for me, at this point, I'm starting to, those things that we used to hear. I find space for what I treasure. I make time for what I want. Like, I'm now learning that, sorry, it's a song. It's called Make Room by Jonathan McReynolds. And for me, the words in that song are the words that are teaching me right now that actually you must find space for what you treasure, make time for what you want. You choose your priorities. So it's not a destination. It's something you have to learn. And just as your intention about reading your books and your articles and all of these other personal development things, you must also be intentional about finding the balance in your life by asking yourself what is priority at a particular time. Okay, yes, you have now grown into maybe middle management at work, but also at home, you are a fast girl and there is responsibility there. In each and every moment, you must find where are you going to deliver? I don't know. I don't want to say the most value, but who needs you the most, or what is it that matters to you the most that will give you, I call it the sense of fulfillment. Obviously, there are always trade-offs that you must know and you must accept. They are usually trade-offs. So it's upon you to determine what are you trading off, the losses, of course, have to be there. There are milestones you will miss either at work or at home. You choose. But you can decide to, I think it's something we spoke through. It's Coach Jennifer, I think, that mentioned it in the previous session last week, that you then check, is there a way I can have both? And if I can't, what's the trade-off? That one you must prepare your mind for. And as a leader, there are definitely going to be trade-offs. The other thing I want to say is sometimes it's not about having the balance, but it's making sure that, this is a hard one. I've talked about trade-offs, but they must be intentional trade-offs. Yeah. Sometimes I minister in choir. And for a long time, I felt it personal responsibility. I would spend the whole day on Sunday at church, the whole day. I go to church by 6:45. I am there. I'm in the first service, the second service, the third service, even the fourth service. I go home maybe at 7 p.m. And tomorrow is Monday. I must show up 102% at work. And I thought I had to do that. And I did it for a long time. Now I don't feel bad that today I don't do it, because while I could, I did it for a long time. But now I know that I must have some trade-offs and decide that, okay, I'm going to only be in maybe the first and second service so that I can go and make some time for some other things and also prepare myself and be in the right state for the next day. That's what I'm calling intentional trade-offs. You realize that maybe you can't be in all those places that you used to be for all the time that you used to be there. I think I'm winding up. The fourth thing is that when you climb in work and life, it doesn't mean that you must sacrifice your health, your relationships, or your peace, especially the part of your peace. There's a point where I would leave work. I would be using maybe a boda from work to back home, and I'm crying on the boda. And I'd be thinking, oh, what is the boda rider thinking? Maybe this girl is a problematic girl. And I'd be going home telling myself, let me go home and think about my life. Because I was thriving at work, but I was so sad. I really was very sad. So it doesn't mean that because you're climbing the ladder, you must sacrifice your place of peace or whatever. You have to find a way to make sure you are still sane, and that as you're climbing, you're actually enjoying it. You're enjoying the climb. It's not weighing down on you. Finally, the fifth thing I want to say is, just a second. My phone is overlooking. I made notes on my phone. So you cannot lead when you are depleted. That's the last thing I will say. Because all these people, be it your family, be it your children, your husband, wife, the people at work, your boss, they need you. And unfortunately, they need all of you. Like they need you to deliver maximum, which you cannot do if you are depleted. You will still show up at work, but because things are weighing down on you, you're tired, you're constantly tired, you find yourself snappy, you find yourself irritated by small things. Now me, my other trouble is I'm usually a perfectionist. I want things exact, and small deviations can disturb me a certain way. But if you are okay and nothing else is disturbing, you can I find that I can negotiate here and there, allow people benefit of doubt every now and then. But if you find that you're already congested, you are constantly tired, you are overwhelmed by ABCD, ooh, you will not allow any grace for anyone. And that's a very bad place to be. So you cannot give when you are depleted. You must always find a way to refill your cup, even as you climb. And actually, you realize that the demand to refill as you climb grows, because now you're giving out a little more, and maybe you're even getting depleted a little more, like, let me say, faster. So if you were refilling your cup once in a month before, you may find that maybe you need a daily refill. That's where Jose comes in, because for him, he has those tips for how do you make sure you actually refill your cup on a daily basis. And I'm sure he'll tell us a bit about that. So you can't give when you are depleted. Remember that balance is not a destination. It's something that you learn. It's a rhythm that you learn and grow into. That's what I would have to share with you. Thank you very much. Over to you, Coach Jennifer.
Thank you, Dina. She had a lot to say, but she did not know that she had so much to say. You shared so many gems. I was thinking about so many examples when you are sharing, but I don't want us to take up a lot of time. Before I invite Jose, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. We have some questions here that I want us to answer at the end. But if you have any questions right now, put them in the chat. Junie, thank you very much. Junie, sorry, there's someone. It's my niece. Sorry, when she comes, I have to acknowledge her. Junie, I've seen you. Anyway, so I'm going to hand over to our person in the Netherlands, our headmaster, the one who has good roads, who doesn't have power cuts, who didn't suffer, we didn't have water the whole of for 2 weeks, who doesn't suffer from no water. The one generally who is having a good life. We invite you to impart. To impart unto us that good life. Jose, you're welcome. Welcome him, please, guys.
Thank you. I will acknowledge, I will not be shy about having the good life. It is the blessings of the Lord that we enjoy. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining in. Yes, Coach Jennifer, you were saying something?
I want to acknowledge the presence of Jethro Musoke.
Just going to acknowledge we won't call him the prodigal son returning home, but just
No.
when we have seen you. Thank you.
He has even run away.
Well, welcome. I want to also recognize the presence of Chanzi. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I will see how much time I can take. I'd ask for 45 minutes, but I'm cognizant of the fact that also other people have to present. So I will see how to. But anyway, this topic is key. And unlike those where I like to speak from the heart, I made sure I prepare a couple of things because I know this is key. This is something, not that the other topics are not key, but I know there are many people that are grappling with this. And so I made sure I put something down. So if you see me reading, that is, and you usually find it easy that I speak from my heart. This is because this is very, very key. And today, I think we'll just be talking honestly, practically about what it takes to grow your career without losing your peace, without like Dina has said, without losing your life, without losing your mind, without losing your relationships. You know, some people can climb up the ladder and at some point they wonder, why did I even climb up here? The climbing becomes like a curse on them. But I'm also aware that some people, especially ladies, have had to sacrifice one for the other. They either climb up the ladder and stay single, or they concentrate on work and forget about climbing the ladder because they fail to manage the two. And, you know, some people, the husband will say, you either choose this home or you choose your work. And sadly, some of them have had to choose their work and they have sacrificed what would have been, flourishing careers. And yet it's possible to have both and have them in a wonderful, wonderful way. But also, it's not just only about those that are in conventional offices, as you'd call them, but even for entrepreneurs. As the business grows, there's a demand on you. When you are just managing one or two customers, you know, you have more time. When the thing begins to grow and expand, then there is a demand. That's growth for you also. And so there is a demand. Now, suddenly where there was 1-2 orders and you had enough time for this, now there are 15 orders. Then, you know, there are 20 orders. Then there are 30 orders. And before you know it, you are swimming in orders, which seems to be a good thing, but you're losing everything else. And you're losing your own self. So how do you handle the two things? I think the reality for most leaders is increased workload, blurred boundaries. I think I came across some people who have begun to, you know, carry on a thought that because you can't separate work, you can't have work and work-life balance, they are finding ways to marry the two. The boundaries are being blurred in such a way that is not very healthy, because there's a reason why those two things exist. They can coexist, but I don't think they need to mingle in such a way that you lose the boundaries between the two. But for some people, it's blurred boundaries. It's the culture of always on at whatever time that person is reachable. And some people pride themselves in it. But it comes at a cost. It comes at a cost. Like Coach Jennifer was saying at the start, the rising expectations at home. You know, when you're just single, not many expectations. You can go home anytime you want. You know, and you can stay whatever time and go home whatever time. There's not many. Then you get married. Then someone begins calling. Where are you? I said, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. 5 minutes later, how far now? You're like, I'm on my way. 10 minutes later, you're like, I am on my way. I am coming. I said I was. And then when you are still, finding rhythm, then the children enter the mix. Then there's, that increased expectation. Then the phone calls begin to come because now you're climbing the ladder. The phone calls begin to come from your aunt. Your brother is here. I don't know what we are going to do about him. He got a good place at the at this school, but I don't know what we are going to do. Those phone calls begin to come. And, the phone calls from home, they begin to increase. So the expectation increases. Everyone is pulling on your energy. It's just the reality now. As you begin to climb up the ladder, everyone begins to pull on your energy. And, the higher you rise, the more the pressure multiplies. Work does not decrease, expectations don't soften, and the home suddenly doesn't put itself on pause. Everything is still go, go, go. And, when we talk about work-life balance, there is the myth of 50-50, that split, that perfect split of 50-50, or the myth of there is no perfect calendar, you just have to go with whatever happens, or the myth of, you can't have guilt-free days. You can't be there free. There has to be something to do. You can't enjoy 1 or 2 days off freely. There are people who feel guilty when they are free. They're like, but I should be doing this. Why am I free? Why am I? They feel guilty, and it's just because of the reality of the expectations about them. But you see, that balance is not a seesaw, a calm seesaw where everything sits evenly. That's not real life, and that's definitely not leadership. The truth is that balance is rhythm. You just have to know what seasons are. And it is that rhythm that, as a leader, you know how to sustain the rhythm. Seasons at work, seasons at home, seasons of rest, seasons of intensity. If you manage to understand what seasons you are in at that time and then work out a rhythm, which we will be talking about, then you will find that work-life balance is actually a possibility. Balance is it's not 50-50. It's a rhythm. It's knowing what season you are in and leading accordingly from that season. And I think just the realization, when we talk about seasons and why people are quick to think about time, but your energy, when we talk about seasons and how to manage seasons, we're not talking about time, we're talking about energy. Because your energy matters more than your time. Your energy levels matter more than your time. Energy determines how you show up, and then how you can allocate the time that you have. Burnout happens when energy collapses, not when time collapses. Burnout happens when energy collapses, because burnout is the depletion of energy, not the depletion of time. It's just the depletion of energy. So when we're talking about how to manage burnout, we're not necessarily talking about how to manage time. We're talking about how to manage your energy in the different seasons that you are in and how to lead accordingly. Time management alone does not keep leaders afloat. It is energy management that does. You see, and it's just, you will realize that there will be warning signs when your energy levels are beginning to go down. As you climb up, there shall be warning signs. One, you are doing everything very fast, but you are not doing anything well. You are doing things very fast, but not many things are being done well. Your home starts to feel like another task. You're like, now I have to do this at home. Home, which should be a place of fun and enjoyment and rest, begins to feel like a task also. You are physically present in places, but you're mentally absent. The things that would give you joy, the work, suddenly it all becomes a drug. It all becomes a drug. You're not enjoying anything. And yet from the people that are outside, they think you have it under control. You are rising up, you're going up the ladders, you have this and this. People think you, but for you who is inside, you are climbing, but there's that emptiness within you. You are climbing, but the things that you're having to lose along the way are very painful sometimes. And these indicators show up long before before burnout actually sets in. These are indicators that you need to begin to watch out for. And so the foundations, you see, like a doctor, when you finish diagnosing, then you start giving the treatment. So that was diagnosing. The foundations of sustainable leadership, I will just talk about 4 things. 1, clarity. 2, that we mentioned sometime, boundaries. 3, systems. 4, energy management. Clarity, knowing what matters most. Boundaries, protecting what fuels you. Dina mentioned that a bit. Systems, making life easier at home and at work. Mapping out your highs and your lows. It's this framework that keeps leaders healthy when they climb. If you can handle this framework, and we're going to be delving a bit deeper into these things, then you will keep healthy as you climb up the ladder. We'll start with clarity. Clarity is just asking yourself, what is essential? What can be delegated? What can be automated? What can be eliminated? Just those questions. What is essential? What can be delegated? What can be automated? and what can be eliminated. If you can get those things, you will realize that you are almost on your path. You're almost on your path. When your priorities are unclear, everything feels urgent. It's the truth of the matter. If your priorities are unclear, everything seems to be urgent. So if you can get those 4 things right, if you can answer at the start of the week, ask yourself these 4 questions. That will help you along the week, that you're not running through the week, like a firefighter. You don't spend your week firefighting. You're actually spending the week implementing from a place of rest. If you can start the week by answering those 4 questions. Number 2 is just boundaries. Boundaries will go deeper into this, setting this. You set and stop times. You protect rest. You have take off windows, and you communicate expectations at home. You set and stop times. You set times and say, we are going to implement this. Then you stop it at some point to re-examine what is working, what is not working. Those are the set stop times. Then you protect your rest. That one we'll talk about more. Then you create take off windows. These days, people are on their phone 24/7. But you can say as a family, 1 hour every week, there'll be no phones. There'll be no one on tech, so that we can connect like people. We can connect like people in this home. We catch up, we ask what's happening in your life, That connection, you decide either 1 hour a week or 30 minutes a day, whatever it is. You have take off windows, take as in TECH, technology off windows. That's clear. And then you also communicate expectations at home. We'll dig into this because this is very, very key. It will save you a lot. Where healthy boundaries are not walls, they're just oxygen for leaders. But when we talk about we talked about number 3, setting systems that simplify life. The systems that prevent leaders from drowning at work and at home. If you don't set systems, sometimes we think of systems as being work. At work, that's why you set systems and all these things. But systems can be rhythms that help you at work, things that spell clarity. Systems, they're a secret weapon for every sustainably successful leaders. Most leaders don't burn out because they are weak. They burn out because they are operating without support systems. They are everywhere, all over the place. There are no support systems. And we'll just break this down into 2 things. 1, work systems, and 2, home systems. When we talk about work systems, mainly it's really 1 or 2 things, but let me start with, for example, delegation. You have delegation rhythms. You don't delegate randomly. I think I passionate about delegation, but you set rhythms. You don't delegate randomly because suddenly you're piled up and then you delegate. No, you decide from the start. Most leaders delegate reactively. It is when they are overwhelmed that they now think, who can I delegate to? Who can I delegate to? Sustainable leaders delegate proactively. You don't wait to be overwhelmed. You think before the week starts proactively. What would I delegate? Who would I delegate to? And all these things. It's not reactionary. A simple rhythm. On Monday, you decide what 2 things will I not do. At the start of the week, you have all these things and you decide what 2 things will I not do? And then these are the things I'm going to delegate. So you don't wait to be taken over. No, you are proactive. You start on Monday. What 2 things am I going to delegate? What 2 things will I not do? And then you delegate them. On Wednesday, you just check in for clarity. How are those things going? You're not micromanaging. You're not delegating on Monday. Then Monday evening, you're looking over the person's shoulder. How are you doing? Tuesday, where is it? You didn't delegate. You might as well do the task for yourself. So you delegate on Monday. Wednesday, you just do a check-in. Friday, you sit down, review results, and refine what has to be done. In between there, you have created for yourself a couple of days of just rest for those 2 tasks. You are no longer involved in those 2 tasks. Just 2 days to check in. And then also, this kind of delegation, it creates trust, accountability, and also frees up your mental space. We're talking about work systems. So 1 is delegation, 2 is team autonomy. If you're a team leader, because I like to speak to team leaders, if you're a team leader and your team cannot move without your approval, you will never have balance. If you're a team leader and your team cannot move without your approval on everything, you will not have balance. It's these decision bottlenecks that drain your energy and slow down the organization. Build autonomy by defining, make it clear. What does the team decide? What things are the team free to decide on? What things come to my desk to decide on? And what things do we decide together in a meeting? It's that very clear. It will save you a lot of time. It creates clarity. It creates freedom for the team to be able to move without you. You see, there's some kinds of leadership where if it's a conflict in the market, the main leader of the country has to do so. If it's conflict with borders, the main leader has to do so. If it's conflict with ministers, the main leader. There are some leaders, I'm not saying who, but that you don't rest. You can't lead like that. You will burn out. You will burn out. You have to decide if there are this for this and this leader will be in charge. The team concerning ABCD, that one you have freedom to decide. Concerning certain things, this one I will decide as the leader. Concerning this, we will decide together. That clarity just saves you a lot of time and it gives you a lot of mental space. And so the other thing as well is that's team autonomy. Then the third one is decision filters. A decision filter is a short list of rules that prevents decision fatigue. For example, you decide with yourself or with your team, or for yourself, you decide and say, if it doesn't align with the top 3 priorities, it is a no for me. Because there are many things to do. You will never run short of things to do. So you need to decide what are my top 3 priorities in this place, in this matter, in this thing. If it doesn't align with those top 3 priorities, I am not doing it. It's a no for me. Then you also decide if it can be done in 5 minutes, I'll do it now. I won't push it on. I'll do it now so that I save myself time in the future. That procrastination ends up killing you. It looks like you're buying time now, but you are killing time ahead. If it requires your unique expertise, if the team decides this one requires your unique expertise, you schedule it. No, I will do this thing on this day. So you're not running through the whole week thinking, oh, I have to do this thing. No, you have scheduled it. So you are free to think of other matters. You're free to engage in other matters because I have scheduled that thing. Hey, I'm being warned that I'm running out of time. Okay, if someone else can do 70% of that thing, delegate it. If someone can do 70% of that thing, delegate it. When you delegate it, you free yourself time. You can just come in to do the 30%. But there was a lot to talk about. But let me just talk about home systems and then I will finish. Home systems is just, I'll talk about maybe 1 or 2 things for home system. Shared calendars, because I'll talk about the work-life balance. So at home, have shared calendars. Let people know what you'll be doing on this day, what are the important meetings, what are your travel dates, when will you be working late at night, when are the family events. So have shared calendars. That will save, it will prevent misunderstandings and it will create alignment. You won't have things like, but you didn't tell me, but you also know, but this, that can drain you, it stresses you, and that's what we are trying to prevent. So as you climb up the ladder, learn the habit of sharing calendars at the start of the week or at the start of the month. It will save you a lot. It will bring a lot of clarity to your life. Also, the other simple thing is just really meal planning. Plan ahead. One of the things that disturbs very many people is that question, what are we eating tonight? Mommy, what are you eating tonight? That decision. Choose 5 meals that you can, rotate around and do those meal plans. At the start of the week, make your meal plans and say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It gives you just, some people have just that fatigue of deciding what to eat and what to cook. But if you plan ahead, it helps you, it saves you that fatigue. You are set to go for the rest of the week. Use apps. There are apps that can help you drop a simple menu for the week. There are apps that are very good at that. We were doing technology that time, AI. AI is not only for work, even at home. There are apps that can help you plan out menus, outsource when you have to outsource. Then I say for those who are single, we are trying to cater for everyone. Outsource repetitive tasks, outsource repetitive tasks. And then, there's things that you can outsource, cleaning, laundry, grocery. It's not being lazy. It's saving your time. So there are things that you can really outsource. Grocery shopping, Dinner has an app where they can do things like that for you. So cleaning, for things that you have to schedule them. For things that you have to outsource. It's not being lazy. You're just trying to protect your time. But Dan, I think I need to stop. We have so much to talk about, but I will pause at this. Coach Jennifer, you see why I asked for 45 minutes? But
No, I think first of all, thank you. As you were talking, I was like, I think you're going to take that. The last session, you're going to take it. I think we're going to give you the 45 minutes because, yeah, so that you can share deeply because you are sharing so much. I was even like, should I not share what I want to share? And I let him, but I'm like, no. I think we need to have you not rush through this, to go through this and actually break it down. Break it down. I think the last session is daily habits for work-life balance. I think I'm just going to make it habits for work-life balance, and it's going to be Jose is our speaker. You are our speaker. Have you heard? You're our speaker. So thank you very much. I think the main thing that I got from him is that balance is a rhythm. I just love the way that he defined that. Because what was number 4 after the systems? You see people asking, we are going to come next week. Jose is coming to give us a webinar. Who is saying whatever. So what I'm going to do is I want to share for just like, if I can even share like for 7 minutes, because I want you guys to try and answer some questions. Yeah? Jose and Dina, there are questions that I sent to the group. Look at those questions and answer them. I also want you to think about the answer for the people who think who feels guilty sometimes when, it was Hillary, at times, he's the kind of person who feels guilty when he has a lot of free time. So I want you to look at those questions and prepare to answer them because I'm just going to rush through my presentation. I'm going to cut it short because I really want to talk especially to, mine is especially for the women because they asked a lot of questions. So I'm the person who deals with self. And the main thing that I want us to ask ourselves as I'm going through my short presentation, which should be less than, as I said, 7 minutes, is am I being passive or am I being proactive? Because that is where we usually fall short. Stuff happens and we expect that somehow it will go away, somehow it will sort itself out, and then things don't sort themselves out. I shared a story on LinkedIn about a lady who was on her way to the airport and the husband was calling and screaming at her, was quarreling, abusing, calling her all sorts of names all the way from home until the airport. Calling, hanging up because she was going on a work trip, which she had informed him about, but he had not responded. He chose to respond. I think he thought she was not going to go because he kept quiet. I think it was passive-aggressive stuff. But she decided to go. But the thing is, it was a passive thing of informing him and not making sure that you're on the same page. You just go and then things blow up. The marriage survived. It survived that. But it's like it affected her authenticity. It affected the way that she shows up regarding work-related stuff. So as ladies, these are just a couple of things. It even affects gentlemen, because I'll give you an example of the gentleman. I just want to talk about 3 specific things that you might want to keep at the back of your mind as you're climbing up the ladder, as you're earning more money, as you're growing in family, as you're getting married, having more children, all that kind of stuff. 3 things that I would like us to just remind ourselves. First of all, the question that you continue asking yourself is, am I being passive or am I being proactive? Proactive, which is influencing a situation for a favorable outcome or taking steps to prevent negative impact, like the other lady. So the first thing that I'd like you to think about when something has happened, when you're getting a promotion, when you're taking on a new job, is are we moving together? Tokenen, Dagala, and beef. Jethro is responding to you, Dina. But what is... So the first question to ask yourself, when you're moving up a rank, are we moving together? And how can you make sure that you're moving together? There's a mentorship program that I attended where a gentleman talked about how he wanted to apply. He's a big man. He wanted a big person in the government and all that stuff. He wanted to apply for a certain position. He knew he could get it. But this position was going to be like outward facing. The family would be, as in his name would be out there. If the wife did anything, it would be in the papers. The kids, as in kids will know that he's the father, as in it was too public. But when he told the wife told him, I don't feel comfortable about this. Can you give me time to think about it? And he gave her time. He waited for a whole year until she told him, it's okay. I think you can now apply for the position. Then he applied. So it's like she prepared herself, she prepared the family. And he applied only when the wife said yes. At times, it's not worth it to shred your family because you must progress. At times, it's not worth it. At times it's not worth it. When I was getting into coaching, I sat down with each of my siblings, because coaching, I'm going to talk about our family, I'm going to talk about our struggles, I'm going to talk about what we went through. I sat with them and told them, I'm going to get into coaching and I'm going to be talking about the family. I just want to let you know that this is what's going to happen. What do you think about it? Do I have permission? And they all told me, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. So that when I start sharing about our struggle, no one now starts calling me and saying, how dare you say that? No. So it's not person, you fell in love, you know, you know how to reach them. So find a way. I hope I'm still, because my internet is doing things. Also for the kids, because at times the kids are also affected. So make sure that you're moving together. The second thing is to be real. Face reality and take action. How are you changing as you climb up the ladder? I mean, when you go from obscurity to having bodyguards, you're going to change. You're going to change. How are you changing? And what proactive steps do you need to take in order to rebalance the fact that now so-and-so needs to go through a bodyguard? We have a relative who is recently, he has been promoted to he's a judge. We don't know how to talk to him, because as in, you know how you usually just call him by his name. But it's like you call him by his name among judges, it's disrespectful. So it's like we are trying to find, how do we? Yeah, because one of my cousins called him out, and then his bodyguard turns and tells him justice, and I'm like, hey, kumbe his justice. Yeah, so it's like you change, people change. So how do you help your people to adjust to those changes? How are you changing? The second thing is, how is family being affected? There's a gentleman who was promoted and he needed to spend more time at work. His wife was not comfortable about it. Again, he was passive. He did that thing where, the woman is complaining. The wife was so mad. She went to his workplace and overturned his table in front of his people, in front of his subordinates. The marriage did not survive. That marriage did not survive. But the thing is, he did not notice how she was being affected. He wasn't proactive about taking preventive action to prevent a negative impact. So if someone is showing those signs that this is affecting them badly, take time, find counselors, talk to parents, find people to talk to, find a way to rebalance the equation. Don't just be, as in, bury your head in the sand and keep going. Stuff happens. Stuff actually happens. So be real with family. If the children are beginning, if you can't now you used to tuck the children into bed every day of the week, but now you can't do it. How can you recreate a balance? What can you do so that the children now don't feel like it's like the child grows up? Because the people who have had to coach, who have a bad idea about work because of what they saw happen at home. So be aware of that. Be aware of how your family is being affected. The next is how work is beginning to affect work. There's someone who posted that the boss called her at 11, was calling her at 11. There's actually a whole thing that something blew up on social media about a boss who called a lady at about 2 a.m. about work. And the lady was in the club and she abused him. When she answered, she was high. So she abused him. And people were like, what's wrong with this boss? First of all, these are the things that Jose is going to talk about. First of all, why is the boss even going through to ring you? As in, do not disturb works. His phone should not even ring. Yeah? But in such instances where there are bosses who don't have boundaries, please don't answer the call and don't call back. Respond to him when you get to work. If the call came on Friday, respond to him on Monday. On Monday, say, I seem to see a missed call. Is this an error? Yeah. So you have to have the boundaries. I have a person who I once worked with who had an issue with codependency, and I had to set a boundary. Our work stops at 6. Do not call me for work after 6 o'clock. The person would, as in I set the boundary, but the person had an issue with boundaries. So they would call me at 8. I would not answer. I would not respond until the next day. Then they started calling me at about 6:15. I would not answer because I tell them work stops at 6 o'clock. Then they started calling at 5:55. I would answer the call. We have a conversation. When it reaches 6, I'll tell them we will continue tomorrow, and I'll hang up. They gradually learned. Because you have to enforce your boundaries. I was training this person. Now that person, when I hear them also saying, this person, I set a boundary, I'm like, hey, this is you. I trained them. So you have to train people how to relate with you, even your bosses. They need to know that this one, I can't call her over the weekend. And they shouldn't. They actually shouldn't. There are jobs where that happens, but let it be official. If you're a person who is going to be on call, let it be official. Because we also had people like that where we used to work, let it be official. I think the last one that I want to talk about is check-in. Always check in with your life whenever there are major changes in your life. When you're climbing up the edge ladder as ladies, your body changes. I remember I had to sit down and tell ladies, as in when you go from 30 to 35, your body changes. Because I usually have ladies who are much younger than me. When you go 35 to 40, your body changes. And stuff, the way you're organized, it changes. So there are things that you need to do in order to maintain a balance. So what do you need to do about your body and your energy? What do you need to do about that? The family ladder, when a new child comes, I had a client who reached out to me because they were a manager and were feeling like they were dropping the ball, blah, 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 blah. And I asked what has happened in the recent past. They got a baby. And I was like, have you evaluated the impact of having a child? Because before you had no child, you would wake up, not have breakfast, go to work. Now you have to wake up, bathe, diaper, make sure what before you go to work. So you have to sit down and evaluate. I have a baby now. How is this going to affect me? How is this going to affect work? I have a second baby now. How is this going to affect me? How is this going to affect work? Don't just keep going. Sit down and evaluate the new things that happen. Our parents are now living with us, the parents who are sick. How is this going to affect me? How is this going to affect work? Whenever there's a major change, when you climb up this is now a responsibility ladder. When you're climbing up the responsibility ladder, when you're promoted, I've had a number of people who've reached out to me when you can get promoted because of skills, but when you finally get promoted to lead people properly, people discover insecurities they didn't know they had, jealousies they did not know they had, envy that they did not know they had, as in stuff begins to show up and they're like, who is this person? So at times you're climbing up the ladder and then the really you, the child who was once slapped to begins to show up. You do things and you're like, who am I? So you need to evaluate, I've now climbed up this ladder. Is it time for me to get a coach? To do with the fact that teacher so-and-so told me I did not speak good English. To do with the fact that auntie so-and-so shouted at me and it's making me insecure. So you need to actually have those checks, intentional checks, whenever there is a major change. Gentlemen and especially ladies, check in with yourself. How has this impacted me? How is this going to impact family? How is this going to impact my work? How is this going to impact my body? How is this going to impact the kids? How is this going to impact my life? And that question, again, I want you to keep asking yourself whenever you're going through something or feeling like you're overwhelmed or something, am I being passive or am I being proactive? Because you are the one, government is not coming. You are the one in charge of your life. Government is not going to help you. You are the one in charge of your life. So I think that is my share. I'm going to think a little bit further, but I'm going to hand over now I want us to first answer the first question about free time. What do you do? Well, let us help Hilary. Thank you. How do we get Frank? That handout. Frank, we are going to, Jose is coming next week, come next week. So just dealing with free time. The person who feels guilty sometimes when they have a lot of free time, how do they deal with that? Who wants to go first? Jose, answer this.
I think it's just a mindset. I think it's a mindset it's a result of having gotten to be so busy and having told yourself that if you rest, you're not being fruitful. It really is a mindset. If you have scheduled your things very well, you know this is taken care of, that is taken care of. You need to speak to yourself because, like I said, it's a mindset. You need to have a reset and tell yourself it is okay to rest. I've done that. But also to know rest refuels you, and it's important that you are refueled because then you can show up in the right places with the right energy. So if you feel guilty, at least tell yourself that I need this so that I can be able to perform well. It's really a mindset. You need to remember you're not a robot. Even robots, even machines take a break. They have to be switched off and then switched on. If they continue running, they will break down. and you used to say long ago in Uganda, chuma cha mudachi. Toli chuma cha mudachi, you will break down. So you are allowed to rest, to refuel, then you can pick up from there. Coach, you're muted.
Thank you very much, Georgette. Jose, there's a question Hilary has asked. I'll answer and then you follow. How do I create a boundary in a working environment that demands your attention at any time? For example, tourism, hospitality. Sometimes I find that emails are flowing even at a time when I'm supposed to rest. Now, this is I think one of the major issues that people have when they are not when you're not working like in formal employment. You have like your own business. It's like it's possible for you to just keep going, and it's something I experienced when I left formal employment. I think like for the first year, it was how do I switch off my mind? How do I switch off my mind? And it's something that I tell many people who I work with right now. It's like you have to create routines for yourself to switch off. Because Hilary, just because the email has come in at 1 a.m. doesn't mean that you need to answer it at 1 a.m. Actually, you should not even be seeing that the email has come in at 1 a.m. Yes? So you have to create routines. What happens with formal employment is you have to wake up, you have to dress up, you have to go to work at a certain time, and then you leave work, as in you turn off your computer and you walk away from your computer and you go back home. So there's a way that you can actually block it off. So that's what I started doing. Today I woke up, I am at home, but I am dressed like I am going to work. I have woken up, I have dressed up, and I came and I said, these are my work. I have 2 desks. So this is my work desk. I turn on my computer and I know that I'm working. When I'm working, I don't do my work in the bedroom. I don't do my work in any of my chairs in the living room. I do my work at my work desks. When my work day ends, no matter what happens, I don't turn off the computer. At times I do, but I get up from here and I walk away. It's like I have a routine. So what you might need to do, Hilary, is to create those routines for yourself. What are your work hours? That's number one. What are your work hours? You as a person, as Hilary, what are your working hours? And then how can you create routines that tell your mind, work has started, work has ended. Yeah, I'll let Jose, I think you'll benefit very much from the session that Jose is going to have next week, which will be about that whole automation and all that stuff. But I think that's a start for me. Jose, what else can you add?
I'll just add a very simple thing. Automate. Last Thursday, we had Ashley, who was telling us about AI. You can create a PA, completely a virtual PA that handles all that stuff for you, Hilary. A PA that picks, that responds to email, a PA that even when they call, the virtual PA answers, and it will be like you're the one talking. I've had experiences of this. So you can create a virtual PA that handles your things very well when you are switched off. These are not things to fear. These are not things that are hard. They are possible. So please, if you can, reach out to Ashley, have a conversation with her. She will help. This is a very, very doable thing, Hilary. It's a very doable thing. Having a virtual PA that handles all these things when you're sleeping, and the PA does not make mistakes because it's synchronized with your calendar, so they can book in the person without even you being there. They can send him the necessary information without you being there. When you wake up, you see all stuff was done. So that's a very doable one now in the days of AI.
Okay. Now, Dina, was there any question among the 7 that were sent that you felt you wanted to answer? Jose, is there any that you feel like you want to answer? Let me ask, there's someone who asked about work-life balance with friendships. Okay, for me, I'm a person who is, I think I'm a little bit radical. As you go up the ladder, there are some friendships that are not going to survive. As you go up any ladder, whether it's the home ladder, whether it's the parents who are not well ladder and you're taking care of them, whether it's the marriage ladder, whether it's the having new children ladder, whether it's marrying that man, the friend who also liked the man who stopped being your friend, whether it's the promotion ladder, there are people who are their friends who you're going to have to shed. So I think the first thing that I would advise this person is know the people who are permanent in your life, the ones who you must hold on to. Usually they are family or very, 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 very tight friends. And then know the ones who are going to come and go. Because there are people who are going to come and there are people who are going to go. There are people who, when I resigned, Jose, you flipped. When I resigned, the people who got mad at me because I didn't inform them in time. HR released before I could inform them. They got mad at me because of that. When I left the bank, of course, there are people who stopped, because you're not in the same circles. Yeah. So, friends, people are going to come and go. I think it's just for you to know who are the people who are permanent in my life and keep them. Then the others, how do I maintain the relationships that need to be maintained? How do I let go of the ones that need to be let go of? I think that's my advice for you. Jose, is there any of the questions?
They are on the phone, so I might not be able to see them. But if you can read one for me out, I'll be glad to oblige.
Let me say one. What would you say to high achievers who don't know how to stop thinking about this one? Already answered. How can I balance work, marriage, and motherhood? Since you're a father.
A father to many nations.
No, a father to many nations.
I think we have talked about these things. The whole thing of creating systems. I think for me, creating systems is a big thing. Creating systems is a big thing. Both systems for home and systems for work. You can have 1 hour at the start of the week to map out work. What do I need to do? What do I need to delegate? What do I need to automate those decisions? Have 1 hour that is planning for work, and have 1 hour with the guys at home to plan what is the week going to look like, who is going to do what responsibility, who is going to be in charge of this, that is also a system. At the start of the week, plan that out for the family. That's a planning week, for a planning hour. We usually think planning is at home, but even at work, I usually think planning is at work, but at home, have a planning hour with the family at the start of the week so that everything is clear. It brings a lot of peace. It removes ambiguity. It removes, plan meals ahead of time, plan responsibility, plan tasks, plan all the expectations, share calendars. That should save you a lot in that regard. And then with babies and all these things, again, outsource. What can I outsource? You're not being a lazy wife if you outsource certain things. No, you're just creating time for the family. You're creating time for yourself and for the family. So there are some things that you can't outsource and no one will judge you. They will be happy when you're showing up with full energy instead. So create systems, outsource, and also know what works, what refuels you. That's very, very key. Maybe we'll talk about that again. But I hope I've given at least some kind of some response that you can start with.
It is, yeah. We'll continue next week in Daily Habits. I think I'm going to allow Dina. Yeah, the meal thing, yeah. Even as for singles, then we have to plan our meals. I'm going to allow Dina to close us out. Before I leave, guys, please celebrate Reimagine Leadership. We have 100 followers on our page. just if you haven't followed, please go and follow. Please go and follow. Dina, I want you to close us out. Just give us like 2 minutes or 3 minutes. But I want you to answer the question, how do you avoid focus fogging? I don't know what that means, but I think you must know what it means. Answer that question and then close us out.
Okay.
Answer the question in 30 seconds or 1 minute and then close us out.
Okay. I think what usually disturbs our focus is because our priorities are shifted. And when your priorities are shifted, remember what they say, what we said that I think it's Jose who mentioned that if you don't, did you say if you don't schedule, like everything feels like a priority. And when everything feels like a priority, then you're going to feel pulled in different directions at the same time, and it will just overwhelm your mind. For me, at some point, I even like just stand when that happens to me. If I'm at work, I just stand up, I clean up my desk, remove all the papers, put things in order and all of that. And then I learned this from Coach Jennifer. I write down everything that is on my mind. Everything. Like I put everything down. This checklist, this what, whether they are home things, messages I need to reply to, blah, blah. I put everything down as if a way to decongest my mind. And then I check what needs to be done in this very moment. That's how I go around it now. But focus fogging is really because your priorities are shifted. Everything feels urgent. That's why it happens. Okay. that said, I think there was also someone who was asking that how can we as a society, there's a question, that question touched me. Let me just read it real quick, please.
Normalize boundaries to ensure sustained peace.
Exactly. So what I'm going to say to that question, oh, sorry. It's simple. Coach Jennifer already mentioned it. It starts with you. When you train people how to treat you, they will also learn and carry it into their own lives and then, cascade it. So starts with you. Enforce your own boundaries, train people how to relate with you, then they'll learn from you. Yeah. That said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for honoring us with your presence. We do not at all take it for granted. Thank you for making a date with us. And we do this every Tuesday.